Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. How are you all doing today? We're doing okay here. Yeah, we've got a little bit of news today. I'm not doing the review of Finding Freedom just yet. I haven't finished reading it, and so I've got to be fair to the guy and finish reading it. Yesterday evening, Graham shared on his community page, community posts, one of Wally's latest video. And this morning he wakes up and he's been demonetized. Not that he made a lot of money, we don't actually, but it's never really been about the money. And it's quite unusual because on his dashboard in his studio, the reason for demonetization is a community guidelines, which is like if you put stuff up that's sexual, violent, that kind of thing. Now, any of you subscribe to Graham's channel, his channel is still there. Well, you can go and have a look for yourselves. I suppose that'll be the next step. They'll just take his channel down. You can see he does a lot of flight sim videos, and he's been talking lately about how he's feeling, and hospital visits and stuff like that. We're not in the hospital till this afternoon. I'm going to allow 2 hours to get there to do the 4 mile, I don't think it's even 4 miles, I think it's about 3.5 mile drive. We're going to allow 2 hours. So far so good, there's no traffic jam, traffic's flowing. That's miraculous, isn't it? And if we get there early, which we probably will, we'll have a breakfast or something in Morrison's. But yeah, he's quite shocked, he's quite stunned, so he goes on it, he thinks, oh, community guidelines, what have I done? And then when he goes into the actual thing, it's nothing to do with community guidelines. It says copyright strike. It says you've been repeatedly using other people's copyright and not even trying to edit it. You've just unashamedly. Now, he's got 2 videos on his channel, which are old black and white movies. The Wicked Lady is one, and I don't know what the other one is. And he doesn't get any money for them because the copyright belongs to whoever the copyright owner is. So he uploaded them, YouTube identified them, YouTube said that's fine, there's a copyright claim on it, so you can't monetize it, but the person who owns the copyright will get the money. And he thought that's lovely because he wanted to highlight it. I don't know what the other film is, but The Wicked Lady particularly is a wonderful film. And he wanted viewers who are interested to have a full copy available, and also he thought it was brilliant that the copyright owner gets their money. And he actually gets a lot of complaints on that video. People say too many adverts, can't you tone the adverts down? And he says, well, it's not up to me, it's up to the copyright owner and YouTube. Anyone who's not familiar with how YouTube works, you can use other people's music and stuff over your videos, but if it's like a big famous song and they've got copyright, then they get the money. In the olden days with YouTube, they'd just take you straight down. But these days, the lawyers have all had a little fight in the background, and they've explained to the copyright owners, well, wouldn't it be better for you to get the money? Why don't you let people do that? And then, so for example, I don't know, Freddie Mercury, there could be a million videos out there using Freddie's music, and whoever owns, I think it's I can't remember the guy's name, the guy with all the hair in the band, then they get the money. And I mean, that's something Freddie would have wanted anyway. It's what any copyright person would want. The reality is probably the lawyers get all the money, I don't know. So those were the 2 videos he had on there, and apart from that, on his flight sims, he uses famous music on his flight sims, and again, the money goes to whoever owns the copyright, and quite right too. But it is unusual that it's been described in 2 different ways. Now, being familiar with, to a certain extent, with Wally's situation, with Trevor's situation, with other YouTubers who've been either taken down or demonetized, I had a look at how they've done it, and because on his studio homepage they're claiming it's community, but when you actually go to the complaint it's copyright, something's not right there, is it? I deeply suspect this channel will be next. Not demonetization, just gone. And I wanted to talk to you before that happens, just in case, the sword of Damocles above my head. I believe they're targeting Graham because they know we're married, and it's probably easier for them to get a YouTube employee to do something to him, because if this channel goes down, then of course my first place to go would be Graham's channel to let you all know we're all right and stuff like that, and they don't want that, so they're snipping that. This is my personal belief. These are my opinions. that they're cutting off avenues so that when this channel goes down, there's nowhere that I will have a voice. And as you all know, that's a big thing for me. And I'll explain why. Why is free speech such a big thing for me? Well, I'll tell you. Another emotional video. I hate getting emotional. I don't know what's the matter with me lately. I need to slap myself and pull myself to come on, Fiona, put yourself together. It's the Daily Mail, really. Well, it goes back before the Daily Mail. The Argus in Brighton. The newspapers used to be really all-powerful. If the newspaper said it was a pretty unsophisticated audience, even back in the 90s, people were taken in very easily. My mum was a politician, and the Evening Argus, as they were called then, they'd just print shit. Just print a ton of shit. Okay, that's their free speech. But my mother was allowed a right to reply because she was a politician. But I didn't. And a lot of the articles were Fiona's done this and Fiona's done that. And I just thought, oh. And then the Daily Mail, being on the run. I did try talking to them. I did try. I emailed them. I never used to read newspapers in those. I only thought, you know, I was a kid. I thought the Argus was the only one. But I had heard of the Daily Mail. I thought, oh, they're famous. Let's try talking to them to try and explain, you know, Steve Skerritt's not being entirely honest with you. The situation is not as black and white as you're making out. So I got in touch with them. I spoke to this journalist by email while I was on the run. And he just ran with a story. Graham got the knock with him, actually, in the end. And he replied to him as me. And I can't remember what it was he said. He said something like, make it worth my while, or something. Something very uncharacteristic for me. Oh, they went with that for a headline. You know, she's cheeky bitch said this to us. And there was no YouTube in those days. We had forums. I don't think Google even existed then. Pretty sure, well, if it did, I didn't know about it. We had Yahoo. And that was about it. And there just was no right to reply for individuals and citizens and people to put their side of the story across. And it frustrated the hell out of me, the injustice of it. And the Daily Mail just kept, and then other newspapers, of course, The Guardian joined in. I think the only one that was nice to me was The Times, actually. They did a centrefold, and they had a picture of a black cat on the, I think it was on the cover of their sort of Sunday supplement thing. And it was a guy called Simon Reeves who wrote it, and I quite liked Simon, actually. He took a lot of time and trouble to email me. I was in touch with him quite a bit when I was on the run. I mean, some journalists, they really try, but even with the best will in the world, another person can't speak for you. So free speech for me is huge. It's huge. So when Wally got taken down, I was just so like, oh, she has no right to reply. Thank God she's still up. Thank God her channel is still here. I don't know if Graham was, this has happened to Graham because he shared on a community post her latest video. I don't think so, actually. I don't think so. I think they just want to shut me up. You know, shut up, most male. Shut up. Perhaps it's criticising, you know, the powers that be over the border. Because that's another thing, you see. You get really powerful organisations. And I was saying to Graham the other day, it's all very well, you know, we can get our voice out there as long as we have channels. Otherwise, channel goes down, that's it, isn't it? You can start a new channel, but then they do the same thing again. And again, it's quite often powerful organisations, rich people, who have the little guys taken down. And that's what's so wrong. I suppose that's how Jimmy Savile operated back in his day. He was rich, he had dirt on people, he could exert power, influence. So for his victims, they had to wait literally until he died before they got any justice. There's some big storm kicking off at the BBC. No one knows. I'm not wading into that one because I don't know, and I don't want to go accusing anybody who's innocent. Well, God, that'd be awful. But I mean, there's a big public anger because I think generally the public sort of see this. They see that there is silencing of stories, and they treat us like we're stupid and we just don't know. I mean, actually, when I got back to Brighton, I largely did pub jobs and shop jobs, and pretty much everywhere I got a job, people would say, I know your face from somewhere, and then the penny would drop and they go, oh, you were that girl, you were Britain's Most Wanted, I followed that story, and they were all lovely to me. I never got attacked by anybody in Brighton, whereas At the time that I was in the papers, I thought, oh God, I bet there's lynch mobs forming all over the UK. Well, at the very least in Brighton there wasn't. People were really nice to me and they said, you know, we read those stories and we thought, what a load of shit. I bet that's a load of bullshit. And I said to them, thank you for telling me that, because, you know, a lot of it was very twisted. Well, they were making stuff up because they didn't know where I was, and that's fair enough. They were imagining. Well, fair enough. The one thing that stuck in my throat was them saying I'd fallen from grace. I was privileged to have a private education, and private education can be a great thing. It can be brilliant, but it wasn't in my case. That school was just awful. It was awful. I can't say bad enough about it. They closed the school in the end. Somebody went on TV and said it's a shit school. Hope I didn't say the wrong thing. No, it was awful. It was awful. Absolute con artists they were. Anyway, I'm drifting off the subject, so you better brace yourselves if you want. Go through my channel, download my videos. If I said it, I said it. Whatever I said at whatever time on whatever subject. Hopefully, Graham has put in an appeal. It's quite unusual what they've asked him to do. They asked him to do a video, you know, like a video blog, unlisted, and to submit that as an appeal. So he's done that. I mean, he's just the most unlikely character to be taken down. He's a small channel, and he's not that controversial. The majority of his channel is flight sims. I think he gets an average of about 10 or 15 views a video. So the Wicked Lady, that's a lot, because it's a work of art and it should live on YouTube. It should live on. And whoever owns the copyright deserves every penny for that movie. Love Margaret Lockwood. If you've never watched it, look it up. Wicked Lady, the original black and white Gainsborough production version. It's just marvellous. I think it might be the British Film something. They're a charity. I think maybe they have the rights to it, because I was in touch with them a couple of years ago saying, you know, why don't you get some of your videos on YouTube and you can earn money from it. So, but I lost I think I got busy and got distracted with something else. So yes, free speech is very, very important, because if someone accuses someone of something, they must have a right to reply, or they must at least know what they have been accused of, because in Graham's case they haven't even said, well, it's this video and this video and this video. They just, as I've said before, YouTube have not communicated. I don't know if this is a bot at YouTube. I don't know if it's a bot attack. I don't know if it's potentially a corrupt employee. I don't know if it's a mistake. I have absolutely no idea. But obviously it's gotten our minds thinking, because he's one of the most inoffensive channels that I've ever seen. I mean, he's just a dude giving his opinion occasionally on the odd thing. You all know I'm often shut him up because I go, oh, don't say that, don't say that. But I mean, that's how people talk in the real world. And I don't think it's just woke stuff. I think there's going to come a time when money will talk. Well, it probably does now. Money talks. You're big, powerful, we've got money. Shut them down. Stop talking. Stop saying all those inconvenient facts. Stop coming out with the other side of the story. Be quiet. So, hope to see you soon. But if I don't, it's been fabulous.